So, today's episode is an exciting one. It's about how to embrace challenges with confidence. Let's face it, life is all about those challenges and overcoming them. It's not an easy ride, but what we learn about those challenges along the way is really what matters and how we can face those obstacles with confidence. So, I am joined today by Dr. Miriam Zylberglait. I hope I pronounced that right. But
Perfect.
everybody calls you Dr. Z because it's even easier. But you're a physician, you're a mother, you're a well being advocate, but you're also a best selling author of the book the 3G Cycle of Life, The Secrets to Achieving Joy, Meaning, and Well-Being. I love that title, Dr. On fire.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, and it's been a pleasure because I met you long ago by now, and I believe that you saw me going through challenges. So when we talk about challenges, it's not only to talk about it, is to go through them, right? And after that be able to talk about how we feel and how we go, and we are able to be successful, right? In our journey. So it's interesting because we have this personal relationship. We know our stories, right?
Absolutely. And it's interesting, so I met you last year. You were one of the first people I interviewed as I was growing my LinkedIn network, as I was becoming just that budding entrepreneur, right? And we had a really good in-depth conversation about overcoming challenges and adversity. And back then I was overcoming my own challenges and just like you were. Now we come together and talk about those challenges. It's interesting, Dr. Z. We're all going through something, aren't we?
Oh my gosh, yes. And whoever says that that's not the case, I will have to check their vitals and make sure that they are alive and they are not robots, you know?
That's what you're gonna put your physician hat on, right?
Yes, true. Or do you have a heart rate? Are you pumping blood there? Because the only way to have a life without challenges or moments without challenges really is not being alive, right? Every day is a new challenge, and I want to clarify that we have this stigma or this negative connotation around the word challenge. And in my house we have this different approach. My husband will say to me, never say that you have a problem, because a problem is something that is really, it's a problem. It's hard to solve. A challenge for us actually has a positive connotation. It's something that may be difficult, that may be out of your comfort zone, but it's something that you can go through and that you can, have a good outcome after it. So we don't, and I don't use challenges with a negative connotation, and I hope people can embrace this word as an opportunity, not as a punishment, right? Because a challenge is not punishment. A challenge is the opportunity for you to learn new skills, to learn more about yourself and about your network, right? Because then you know who is with you and who is not really, and become each of those opportunities in a better version of yourself, right? It's like Miriam 1.0, Miriam 2.0, 2.5, right? It's growing. And
Yeah,
that's why we are here in this world, right? It's my dad called it the university of life. You go through things. If
yeah.
you learn, you pass. If you don't, you will see the same test again and again until you get it.
That's so right on. You know what? You just reminded me of our first conversation that we had, and it really stuck with me. This one particular thing you said. We think of life as linear, but it's more like you said, a video game. And you know what? That really stuck with me because, in a video game, we have to conquer a challenge in order to go to that next level, right? In order to become that 2.0 or 2.5 version of us. And the more gradual you kind of go up, some of these challenges get a little bit harder, don't they?
Yeah.
But would we be able to face those hard challenges, hard obstacles, if we didn't go through that process and go through those levels and really become refined? What do you think about that, Miriam?
Yeah, I don't truly. I don't see life linear. That's a reality. I didn't know about that. I never had the chance to think about how life is until COVID, and I have been always very resilient. That has been something very natural for me. I have been going through very difficult situations and I bounce back very naturally. But I didn't know that that was a superpower and I didn't have control of that superpower. It was natural. When COVID came for everyone. For me, came COVID and another other things happening in my life at the same time. So it was COVID times 10, right? Or times 100. And I was asking myself, okay, I cannot just cross my fingers, and hopefully this time I am resilient again, right? And hopefully I have luck again. Now I need to find out how I do this. And I am this time kind of very intentional and how I will survive COVID and the rest of the issues and how I will be able to help others. It's because I always have this question. It's like, how do you do it? And I never had an answer. It's like, I I don't know. I do it. It's not normal, and that's how I discovered that it was not normal. So, in
Wow.
this process of trying to find out, okay, how do I replicate my behavior, and how do I teach my behavior? What I found out is that, yeah, for me, life is not linear because if life is linear, that means that you don't have the chance to go back, right? It's like we cannot do this Back to the Future movie situation. At least not now. But when you see life as a cycle, when you are able to go around and have second and third chances, what happens is that you are reducing the pressure of thinking about failure because you never fail. What you are doing is you are not getting to the point that you want at your first attempt. What happened in a video game, right? And that's why I compare my idea of life with a video game. You don't die in the first level. At the end of the game, you cannot play again. Even if you die, you can recover and you have the hearts and the diamonds and the superpowers and you try again. So why life could not be like that? And if you think about, and coming from a scientific mind, right, as a physician, our body and the complete nature functions in cycles, day and night, the seasons, the way that we produce energy in our body, right? The cycle of Krebs, the way that our hormones are managed in our body, it goes up and down in cycles, and there is a feedback that is positive and negative, right? So if science works like that, if our body works like that, is nature, why will life will not be like that? And that's how this idea of the cycle of life became, a book.
I love it. It's beautiful. It's a brilliant concept. But let's talk about failure for just one moment because I'm really passionate about this word failure. It's not a life sentence. It does not dictate who you are. It does not dictate what is possible for you in the future. And if we look at it as a lesson and an opportunity, and you know what else I found? The most fascinating thing to me about failure, I've learned to be so grateful every time I fail. And here's why. I fail and I think there must be something wrong with me. Why didn't I achieve this? What is holding me up? And then you know what happens? Something way better comes along. And if I would have aligned with that failure, I wouldn't have gotten that larger gift, that larger opportunity, that larger piece of the pie, whatever you want to call it or think of it. That failure, which was hard at the time, was actually the biggest, greatest gift I could have possibly have imagined. And when you learn to retrain your mindset with things like that, you can learn to really embrace failure and actually be grateful for it.
Yeah, and I will be careful with the connotation that failure has, right? You fail, it's like it comes with shame, right?
Right.
I will say you didn't get to the point, or you didn't achieve your goal or your dream at your first attempt, or
Right.
you didn't achieve exactly what you wanted at the time that you wanted.
Exactly. Yep.
Uh, and that is not failure. Just think about your goals, right? Because to talk about failure, right, or not achieving something, you need to start with the first step. The first step, you need to have a goal to be able to fail, right? And you
There
have to
you go.
try to be able to, in theory, to fail.
Yep.
Let's keep that word for
Yep.
now at least, right? And that's why my 3G cycle start with the goal, right? You need to want something, and you need to make sure when you elaborate this goal, right, to have a goal that is feasible, that is reasonable, and that is aligned with who you are and with your values, right? So the first thing that we need to do to avoid this concept of failure is to make sure that we start with the right fit, right? And it's like our goal is reasonable. I want to go to the moon without a rocket. That will never happen, or at least not in the next 50 years, I guess, right? So let's start with the goal. The second, for me, the second G is grit. That is this energy, motivation, right, that you have inside of you. Sometimes this sense of purpose or a mission that keeps you going no matter how difficult this could be, right? And then you have these catalysts that are the things that happen in real life, right? You have a lot of money, yeah, you will be probably able to do this easier. You have a lot of good friends, very well connected, yeah. You may have a disability, you may not have the money, you may have a barrier, with your language, or you are an immigrant, and you may say, well, these are catalysts that can delay me in the process. But none of them, they are there to stop you. They are just there to give you the opportunity to, well, let's go to the next level. Let's learn a new skill. Let's try. Let's find a way. And at the end, I never close my cycle with goal, achieve your goal, because the truth is that many times we will not achieve our goals, and for many reasons. Uh, because the goal that you had 5 years ago, you wanted the red Ferrari, is not important for you. Now you have 4 kids and a dog, and you need a van, and you're a soccer mom at the end, right? The Ferrari is not a goal anymore. So why you will like the Ferrari now? Did you fail because you didn't buy the Ferrari? No, you don't need it anymore. Sometimes you wanted that Ferrari, you were not able to collect all the money, for the year in the time that you wanted. You still have the chance to try and keep working hard, and maybe get to the bank and ask for extra money and get a Ferrari. Uh, or you may never get that Ferrari, and that's okay. That's okay too. Did you really fail? I don't think that you fail. The only reason that you will fail is because, one, you didn't try, or two, you decided not to learn from the process. But if you
Ooh.
are open to try, number one, and if you are open to learn even without the happy ending, you will have my third 3G, which is grow. You will become a better version of yourself. You will have new skills. You will have a new background of experiences that will make you stronger and wiser for the next attempt. If you decide to attempt something similar, or for anything that you will try, in your life the next time.
Absolutely. It equips us. Without those failures, we wouldn't be fully equipped for the next challenge that presents our way. And it's not always easy. I know for you, especially, you had a hard time, right? You had a real hard time. You came to this country and you had to didn't you have to go through school again? I
Yeah.
can't even imagine that. I complain about my MBA sometimes, and I'm like, "Oh, what a pill that was," but you had to go through medical school twice.
Yeah, but that was, I know that people see that as my bigger challenge or something that looks like so complex. For me, to be sincere, and I cannot explain why, but I didn't see that as a drama. I thought, okay, I mean, I will do residency again, I will do fellowship again. I was pregnant at that point, and I was a doctor with 10 years of experience. So the residents around me could be almost my kids, right? But beyond that, and actually was fun because I kind of I absorbed this, energy of the millennials. That was very cool. I learned a lot from them. I got content. This was contagious for me. But the truth is that I saw this as an opportunity to learn the American system, right? Because yes, I knew medicine, 10 years of practicing medicine and being a faculty in my country, but I didn't understand the system. And I
Mhm.
needed to learn the system. I needed to understand the culture. I needed to create a network of people that I will be able to work in the future. So it was a reason, and that's how I saw it. I saw it, okay, it's a step that I have to go through, but at the end, day by day, what I am doing, I am being a doctor and I am helping people. So I didn't see the trauma. I believe that for me, it was more traumatic to and in general, for me, the challenges, the physical challenges, the challenges of working hard, etc., I don't see them as a big deal. I go for them, it's my nature. When my morality, when my values are
Mm,
affected,
yes.
when I see injustice, when I feel that my hands are tied, when I see bystanders, watching the same movie that I am watching and just ignoring the facts,
Mm,
you cannot hurt me more. That, that's
mm.
that's that that's what will really be a challenge for me, to find a way to be balanced in the way that I act and react, and to be able to keep my mind and my heart healthy in environments that are toxic. That's a challenge. The other things are just opportunities. You learn.
I agree. I'm very similar in nature. I You can present me with almost any challenge, obstacle, or adversity, and I'll overcome it because I am tenacious, right? I'm stubborn in a good way. But when you present me with things that diminish or try to take away my values, or situations that are toxic, morally depleting, I will say that morally depleting, I can't do it. I can't thrive. I have to leave. And you know what? It brings down our confidence over time if we're in environments like that. And I talk about that in my book about, surviving the toxic workplace. Guess
Yeah,
what? It doesn't matter what industry you're in, it doesn't matter what field you're in, what niche, blah, 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 what company you work for. If you're in a toxic work environment and you feel like it's depleting your morals, depleting your standards, it's going to bring down your confidence. And over time, it's going to lead to a diminishment of self worth, of that values, those moral compasses. And then you start to lose sight of who you are as a human being.
your
We get into all
identity.
those places, don't we, Dr. Z?
Oh yes, and this has more consequences after that, right? As soon as, and I know that majority of people will label what you are describing, especially in the work environment, as burnout. I used to be one of them before
Mm.
I learned, right? And
Yeah.
and burnout, for me, has a lot of it's an inaccurate way to describe what is happening.
I
Let's
agree
say
100%. Yes.
I'm not excellent. So
Yes.
Burnout puts the guilt and the responsibility in the person that is getting sick for what happens around her or him.
Yes.
So burnout means in some way that you are not strong enough, that you are not skilled enough, that you don't have enough grit, etc. So you were not enough for that place, for that position. Is your fault.
Yes.
And when you are in toxic environments, or when you are working for companies, corporations, institutions that have values that are very different than yours, or that are not providing you with the minimal needed to work, in a way that is safe, and in a way that you feel proud of yourself, this is not burnout, this is moral injury, right? And I believe that that differentiation needs to exist, especially now, because and I have concerns about the fact that burnout became a couple of years ago a clinical diagnosis.
Mm,
uh, right? Because before burnout, I mean, the word burnout exists for decades. This is something
mhm.
that has been there for decades, and majority we ignore that it existed, right? And it was just related to the work. But now we have burnout in the entrepreneur, we have burnout in parents, we have burnout in, like, burnout is all the colors of the flavors. But now it's also a clinical diagnosis, and when you use this as a clinical diagnosis, you are kind of labeling people, and you are almost calling them, right, because burnout could even be a reason for a disability at this point, as a mental health problem, right? So you are creating really a problem with labeling people, and maybe this could even affect their opportunity to find a job. In the case of medicine, nursing, I mean, that is it's like almost like a cross, as like your career may be completely affected in the future. So I have a problem, a serious problem with the word burnout. Uh, moral injury really reflects the fact that you were doing your job, you were using your skills, you are doing what your contract says, and the rest of the company are failing you, are failing your colleagues, and if you have clients or patients, are failing your patients, the clients, and the community. And that's what we are seeing more than burnout. Burnout is the consequence of moral injury.
Moral injury, please. Somebody. I mean, that is absolutely so true, but I've never heard anybody say that before, but it resonates with me so deeply because
Right.
I know what that feels like. I've been quote unquote burnt out before, but you know what? It wasn't me. I wasn't the problem. It was a result of moral injury. When
Moral.
when you're in a toxic environment and you're being asked to, put profits before people and to, do shady things or things that are against a moral compass of some kind for the betterment of what? If it's at the sacrifice of what you believe in and what your values are, there's no higher price on this planet. And it can carry with you much longer. So the quicker we listen into those intuitions, and I think our intuitions are there for a big reason. It's that guiding force inside of us, and we know. We know. Come on, Dr. Z, we know.
Yeah,
Are we brave enough to listen to it? That's the key.
and I don't want to dismiss or minimize the value of intuition, but not everybody will believe in the concept. You can call it gut feeling, you can call it so many things, right? But let's remove this magical aura of the word intuition. The truth is that the intuition really reflects your experience, right? It's your brain responding to something that already was learned, that you were exposed to. It generates a reaction to that. This is not, spiritual or magical, or you have a ball, these crystal balls, and you can see the future. No, it's just you being exposed to something that your body or your mind already know, kind of in the back, that is not necessarily good. So you are not, it's beyond intuition, is using your experience, and I believe that even more than your experience, the thermometer of your values, right? To compare if the things that you are doing are aligned with your values, are aligned with your goals, and are aligned with your reality, because not everything necessarily will fit all these three requirements. I was just a couple of hours ago, and I hope I am not being disrespectful in any way. I will not mention the name, but someone in LinkedIn, and I feel it in my heart. I don't know this person, but this person was sharing that is. Uh, Pausing a project that was very important for her, because at this point she felt that was not what she needed, or what was the best for the family, or was not necessarily going in the direction, right? And she mentioned something that for me was very interesting, is sometimes what is right could be also what is difficult. uh,
Yes.
and I have a word to describe this, that is called moral resilience. And I learned about moral resilience almost at the same time that I learned about moral injury, right? And moral resilience, really, you can describe it as the ability to do what is right even when it's inconvenient. And many times, the difference between stay in an environment of where you are affected by moral injury and get to burn out, right? The point where you don't go to burnout, when you really redirect yourself, is moral resilience. And when you say, yes, my paycheck is super cool, the schedule is great, I love my office, but I don't like stealing money from people. So what's best for me? I have a lot of things to pay, and I like to pay for my rings and my this. That I don't like to lie. And you decide, well, I will have to buy less stuff, and they will not be very expensive, and I will go for a job that is less convenient, but is better aligned with who I am, and will allow me to go to sleep tonight and feel proud of myself.
That's
And
it.
that is moral resilience.
That's beautiful. And it builds your sense of self-worth too over time. And how important is that? So, this moral resilience, following your moral compass, aligning with your values and your morals and things that you really believe in. You know what? When we do the right thing, it may be really hard to do that right thing. Maybe nobody's even watching. Maybe no one but us will actually know. But you know what? Our bodies remember, our minds remember, and just like you said, that could be the thing that helps you go to sleep at night.
Yes. And I will tell you something, as a mother, I believe that your kids are watching you. And
Yeah.
no matter how small they are, my kids are relatively small, I know that they know.
Yeah.
And sometimes they use things that they hear in conversations at home, right? And they will use them as a way to explain what they are doing, and to justify, uh, and I feel like we have a responsibility, because especially when we are in leadership positions, or we are educators, or we are parents, right? Uh, Someone is watching. Even we think that nobody is watching, someone is watching. And that someone could be learning amazing things from you, or could be learning awful things from you. And we have a moral obligations with those that we have, around us, especially when we decide to take the responsibility, right? The responsibility, and the joy and the honor of having certain positions, that comes with responsibility. Yes, you are there, everybody's watching, so now behave correctly, right? It's your obligation now.
Yes, somebody is always watching. That's so powerful. Such a interesting leadership lesson too. Not just leadership of a team. If you are in an organization, of course, somebody could be watching then, but leadership of yourself and making sure that you're acting on those right decisions that ultimately, help you advance to that next level, like we're talking about. And you use all of these things, these moments, even, these challenges to really level up and become the person that you're really meant to be. I think that's so powerful. Dr. Z, what an incredible conversation. This went by so quick. I feel like I could talk to you for days.
Amazing. Time flies. Well, we can do this again with or without recording.
Yes,
So,
absolutely, absolutely. But I love it. Thank you so much, Dr. Z. And thank you for everyone who tuned into the show today. Dr. Z, your book, I want everybody to grab your book because it is a really amazing book. Where is it available? Can you let everybody know?
Amazon is in Amazon in English, Spanish, in hardcover, softcover, well, paperback, and also as a the
Kindle?
ebook, right?
Yep, yep.
Ebook. But I want to share something that I believe that is important for parents and for educators. I created a version for kids, actually with my boys and with kids from the community that were helping us. So it's a collaborative book for kids based on part of the book that is for adults. I actually have it here.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the 3G Cycle Quest. And it's an adventure where kids are going to discover the crystals of gold, of gold, grit, and grow. And what is magical about this book is that at the end has a complete guidance for teachers or for parents about what they can discuss with their kids. And it's an opportunity for parents and kids to be in the same page, right? And to have something to talk about because the father is or the mother is reading the book for adults and the kid is reading exactly the same in a version for kids. So they will learn about values and learn about, grit and things like that. And we have to face it. If we want to help our kids to develop emotional intelligence and to be successful, really successful in life, we need to develop that emotional intelligence first. So it's a family effort to give opportunities to our kids, and I feel like it's worth it.
I love that. So beautiful. You paid it forward. And that's why she's a number one best-selling author, everybody. Right there. Thinking creatively and making 2 books. I love that. Uh, I'm actually thinking about one for my daughter too, helping her write her first book. I think that would be cool. Maybe how to develop confidence for kids or something like that. We'll see.
Oh, that will be amazing,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course, of
But
course. Let me know if I can help. I would love to.
absolutely. I might need a Spanish translator, so I might show up for sure. But thank you so much for coming to the show today, and thank you for everyone who tuned in. We will catch you on the next episode.